Good morning, everyone, and welcome to ABG's Investor Days for those of you who are also attending through the web. My name is Karl Bokvist. I'm an equity analyst at ABG. To start off the day, we have the pleasure of hosting CTT Systems with CEO Henrik Höjer. So we will start off with an introductory presentation and then, if time permits, follow up with some Q&A. So without further ado, Henrik, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks for having us. Also, thanks for coming. Quite a few people here in front of me. I'm happy with that. And also, as we heard, quite a few people online, and welcome to you as well. So I'll start off with presenting the CTT, looking a little bit about financials first, but then spending most of the time on our outlook and how we see the future on the market. Always tricky to see which arrow is in the right way. So if I look at our financials in short, and the rolling 4 I took as an example here, again, the aftermarket is really driving our growth, and it's also helped a little bit by private jet picking up quite a good speed this year. And as you see, our net sales was up 58% if we compare 4 quarters to 4 quarters. Our operating profit up to 100 million. And our EBIT margin increased as well to 38%. Earnings per share was almost 6 crowns, quite a big increase as well, and our operating cash flow around 50 million. If I then jump into the forecast, as you know, if you follow CTT, we forecast one quarter per quarter. And this next quarter, so Q2, we forecast sales on between 75 and 80 million. This is again driven by the aftermarket, where we see it will start picking up again, and I will come back to that. But it's partly offset by OEM decreasing. OEM is decreasing due to we have quite large initial deliveries on the 777X program in the first quarter. We will continue to deliver to the 777X in Q2, but on a far lower level. And then it will actually be a pause for a couple of quarters since Boeing has a production stop during 23. Looking then at the aftermarket, we see that we are increasing a lot. We also had this effect in Q3 and Q4, where our distributors and the airlines stocked up quite a bit. And we then expected Q1 to be far lower than the previous quarter, and then it would start picking up again in Q2, Q3, and Q4. But it actually was over our expectations on the aftermarket. Yes, we see that it was a little bit lower compared to Q3 and Q4, which was exceptional. But it picked up quite a lot, and actually if we compare it without the currency effects, it was larger than Q4. We also see that if we look back to 2019, we're well above that level, and especially if we look at the rolling 4 quarters, we're far above. And this is a lot driven by the high demand for flying. Most of the world is back to where it was, or almost back to where it was before the pandemic. A few regions are still lagging behind, Asia and China, of course, where we see it will start picking up end of this year and actually take the whole 24 to pick up totally. But after this, the growth will be more normal, and it will be linked to the systems that we deliver. And I will come back to that when we talk about the OEM sales. But we should also remember that there is still 90 787s that were produced during the stop at Boeing's facility that has to be delivered now. They have started. I think they're delivered like 30 of these 120. And the rest of the 90 we will deliver this year, next year, and even a little bit into 25. And that's actually a 10% system increase for CTT on the market as well. If we then look at OEM sales, the system sales, which I think will take most of my presentation today. We took this picture actually it's a rolling 4 quarters, and just to compare where we were in 2019 and where we are right now on more or less a record low, and we have a gap of 150 million. And of course, this is a great growth potential for us. So we see that now OEM is rebounding this year. There's a high demand for wide-body aircraft. We saw this year Air India ordering big amounts of aircraft from both Boeing and Airbus. The 2 new Saudi airlines ordered big amounts of aircraft, and also a lot of the smaller airlines ordering a lot of wide bodies. And this demand is really driving both Boeing and Airbus to increase the production rates of their wide bodies. And CTT, as you know, we are on all these new wide-body aircraft. So on the Boeing 787, on the Airbus A350, and also on the 777X that will start delivering in 2025. When we talk about the 787, which is the most important program for CTT, we've been on an extremely low level last year and this year, 1 to 2 aircraft per month. They are now increasing to 3 aircraft per month, and then gradually going up to 5 end of this year. And then Boeing is targeting to be on 10 aircraft per month in the 25-26 time frame. Airbus is also increasing production rates. They've been on 5 so far and trying to get up to 6 this year, and then they target to be on 9 in 2025. And I noticed also listening to Airbus and Boeing, they're really emphasizing that this is happening now. It's been targets before, but they're stronger in the communication about these rates. And of course, these rates drive our system sales, which also will drive the aftermarket. And this will start closing the gap that we saw on the previous slide. Another important opportunity that we have, and that has been a big part of our sales as well in the past, is the anti-condensation retrofit opportunity, where, as you know, we were on a 0 level last year, of course explained by the pandemic, where nobody was flying for a couple of years, and of course nobody was making any money, and there was no demand for anything. But now we see this market is coming back, of course driven by sustainability, which is key to our whole industry. I think that only thing that everybody talks about is sustainability, and it always starts with sustainability. And of course, the first step is to buy new aircraft, driving the record demand for 737 and A320 family, maybe saving 20-25% due to new engines. But after that, there is no current solutions except for the solution we have, where we can help the airlines save another % on their fuel burn and making them more sustainable and reaching their sustainability targets. Of course, this is also being helped by fuel prices, and also by harder restrictions now coming in with EU demanding that we put in sustainable aviation fuel, and also there will be a change in the emission rights, making the investment in our system even more attractive than before. As I said, the demand has been very low due to the pandemic, but it's starting to come back now, and we have several customers that are very interested in this, and we are in different phases of completing these sales. How fast will it go? That's the key question, and it's really hard for us to see. Some airlines are really making money now, but a lot of them are still in the struggling mode, and it's a little bit difficult to say the timing here. But we're pretty sure that this market will come in again. There is another thing that is affecting the market that we're trying to work around. I was discussing with Carl before here. The demand on flying is still record. This summer is fully sold out, and actually all the airlines are struggling to meet this demand. They don't have the capacity, and that comes to aircraft, crew, MRO resources, and of course, when you come to MRO resources and aircraft, you need that to install our system. So maybe I think the summer will pass by, and then we will be in a better mode having these discussions with our customers. Looking at the other retrofit opportunity, which is the one for cabin humidification, we're still trying to get our first sale on this one. As you know, we were very close before the pandemic. Then, of course, the interest for flying and investing in flying really decreased. But it's now picking up again. All the intercontinental travel is really booming. As I said, the demand for these aircrafts are record high. And we see that the interest is coming back. Also driven by air quality, humidity, wellness, which is important for the passengers. And we see these large retrofit programs coming back, but we also see smaller opportunities, and we can actually come in with our system just on a regular C check or something like that. And this opportunity is, if we can get the market to take this, I mean, it's great. I mean, we have 1,000 Boeing 787 delivered already. They don't have cabin humidification. Their competitors on the A350 have this possibility, and Boeing has the possibility to sell the option on the 777X for cabin humidification as well. So I think the market is starting to create itself, and if we can get it rolling, it's a quite big opportunity. Then the last one that I want to comment is the private jet market. When we look at the private jet market, we have been dominating the VIP segment. So for the really big aircraft, I would say it's a more or less de facto standard. If you buy a very large VIP, you will have our humidification system on board. It's getting there now on the narrow bodies, which of course is a little bit bigger than that market. And we had a low penetration in the past, but it's now clearly increasing. And then the last one is the large business jets, which I will comment all three of them a little bit. So we're still super happy with our partnership with Airbus Corporate Jet. It started off with the ACJ 320 family, where we have made this kit solution. So our system will look exactly the same for every customer. And it's actually not sold by us or the completion center. It's sold by Airbus Corporate Jet. That makes a big difference. And this makes it, of course, more scalable for us as a business. And I would say we're actually a little bit surprised by how much Airbus Corporate Jet is looking into the system, because they really see that this is a differentiator from their competitors, that they have this system to offer for their customers. And it makes a big difference flying this aircraft with our system or not. It then developed into their next big project, and that's the ACJ 220 business jet. It's a very large business jet, but it's marketing the business jet segment. Here we signed the contract with them for promoting our system on eBay a year ago. And we got the first order for the first aircraft in July last year. This system has now been delivered, and it's been being installed in this, at least when the picture was taken, empty aircraft. It's a little bit more full now. And this will enter into service in the second half of 2023. And again, a super good cooperation with ACJ, where they really market our system. And of course, this can be a little bit bigger volumes than the big narrow body ones. It's also leading us into the third opportunity in the VIP segment, and that's the large cabin business jets, which again is a bigger market, 50 to 100 aircraft per year. These aircrafts are relatively new to the market, with which being led by the Bombardier Global 7500. They're designed to fly more than 10 hours. They can fly up to 15, 16. And now they're developing the 8000, which will fly even faster and longer. They're, of course, equipped for best comfort, and with our humidification system on board, that's what's required to get it really good for these long flights. And it's also, we're learning now that maybe people thought that they would not fly so long on these aircraft, but the customers are actually doing really long flights, which is good for us because it's on the long flights you need the humidification. So we have our system on one aircraft that's been operational now for, I think it's almost 2 years. The second one is coming out just about now, I would say, or maybe in the beginning of Q3. Those have been retrofitted, but of course our target is to get on the OEM so that they are promoted by the OEMs and that the customer can get them installed when they get the delivery of the aircraft for the first time. Bombardier is closely followed by Gulfstream. They're developing their 700 and 800, which will be the same segment. And of course, we're targeting to get on board on Gulfstream as well. If I then try to summarize a little bit, the aftermarket is really strong. It's really robust and it's growing over time. 2023 is the year when we will turn around our system sales, driven of course by the OEMs increasing their production rates. And this will also, as I've explained, grow year over year, and the demand is super strong, and Boeing comments that everything up to 2030 is sold out already. So if you order an aircraft now, you will get it later on. So this is really a strong growth that is happening, and we are very well positioned on these 3 wide-body aircrafts. So I'm quite optimistic about 23. We will increase our sales. We will also improve our market position. We have a compelling offer, and I also hope that we, during the year, can capture some of these strategic growth opportunities that I've been talking about. To do that, I just want to finish off with saying that we're quite active on the market. A couple of weeks ago, we were at Air Cargo Europe. We're trying to address the freighter market with our flight deck humidifiers. And of course, this is a new market and we're trying to educate it. Right now, the private jet exhibition in Geneva is ongoing, and we are of course there as well at eBase. Again, doing big promotions with Airbus. And in the beginning of June, we will go down to the biggest aircraft interior exhibition together with Collins Aerospace, which is of course a very important partner for us in this marketing. So quite a busy spring leading up to the summer, and with that I hand over to you, Carl.
Thank you, Henrik. So the first one on the system sales and your comments there on the production rates that are going up, but can you tell us anything about the selection rates and if you've seen any progress on the areas where you don't have full selection rates?
So I mean, commenting on 787, which is the biggest, and is quite easy. We've been very high on selection rates. We actually talk about more than 90% of every 787 produced having our systems on board, and that is for the aircraft that are meant for long haul. There is a few aircraft that are used for shorter distances, and then our system doesn't make sense. Also on the crew rest area, the selection rate is extremely high, and usually the airlines select crew rest when they have a long haul aircraft. So then we can have up to 3 systems on a 787. We're increasing our effort on the 787 together with Boeing, and they have expressed an interest on actually in the future having cabin humidification as well. And this is of course driven by they see Airbus A350 have it, and 777X will have it as well. So hopefully we can get it into the cabin in a not too distant future, but it's not happening this year or next year. But at least we're having those very fruitful discussions. Then on the A350, the selection rate has been lower historically. In the beginning, it was very low, and now it's really picking up, but we're not close to the levels where we are with 787, and that's really a target for us to work with Airbus and work with the airlines that select the A350 to get the selection rate up for all sections, flight deck, the 2 crew rests, and also you can humidify up to 3 zones in the premium cabins on an A350. So it's a great potential, but we're not really where we want to be on the A350. And on a 777X, it may be a little bit too early. We have some of the customers that get the first deliveries in 25. There's plenty of time to work on selection rates, and the airlines that have ordered 777X, and that's what we're doing right now, but I cannot really give you a number there.
And then one thing that was mentioned about a quarter ago was this kind of a bit of cautionary remarks about the inventory adjustments, and also that you saw a threat from a copycat in the US. This last quarterly report, you still grew aftermarket sales, and you didn't really highlight the copycat. So I would assume that you feel pretty confident about your ability to manage that competitive threat.
So that was two questions in one. I'll start with the first one. So the inventory levels, that was clear, and of course we had, which was good for us. We had the chance to raise our prices for the year of 23, and as you all know, there's some inflation, and we were actually compensated for that. And of course, that led to the airlines and our distributor to stock up a little bit on the 2022 prices. It also was done on consumables, lower sales in Q1, but the rest of the aftermarket, meaning repairs and spares, really compensated for that. And now in Q2, we see that this is gradually fading off, and this stock is getting quite low actually. So it's looking really good, and it's going faster than our prediction. On the copy, we're still confident. We see that this is a copy using a material not intended for aviation. We spent years together with Munters to develop our material, and I think we're quite good on fighting this off when we explain the differences to the airlines. So again, a little bit worried end of last year, but now quite confident that we can defend our market, and we don't see any effects of it.
And the final question, now when you are entering a post-pandemic era, everything seems to grow, and but your balance sheet is very, very strong. You have a financial policy of paying out 70% of earnings in a dividend, but do you see any kind of larger investments coming up where you need to preserve some extra cash or similar?
I mean, no, I don't see any large investments now. Of course, we keep investing in the market. We keep rehiring people and growing a little bit. And of course, as production grows, we will invest in our manufacturing processes, but we don't have anything really big on the horizon right now.
And with that, I think we can just have time for one more, and then I would just ask you, last year you were close to 40% in operating margins in profitability in certain quarters. You have flagged the mix effect with the consumables and system sales coming back. And I realize you do not have a target, or you do not want to provide a target here, but how do you think one should assess CTT's profitability going forward when system sales pick up, yet you still have this aftermarket business growing?
But I mean, as you said, I will not answer the question, but I mean, we are happy with a little bit lower profit margin, because that means that we sell more systems, and more systems will generate a bigger aftermarket in the end. I think you could actually see a little bit last year and beginning of this year, where last quarter one was lower aftermarket and higher portion of OEM, that affected our margin a little bit. And you see the effect that it has. So if we drop down a little bit further, that would be okay, I would say, but not too much.
And with that, I think it's time to say thank you, Henrik and CTT, and thank you all of you who have been watching and listening.
Thank you all.